Meat City, baby.
Hello and welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here with another episode of Battle Bites here in World of Tanks. And today I am in an encounter map on Heilbronn and I am driving the T110E5. And this is such a good tank. It is, I think, the first tier 10 that I ever earned in the game all those many years ago. And I don't know if that's why, maybe, but I really feel comfortable in this tank. And it's not overpowered, at least not in my view, not based on anything I know about the game. It's not going to get you out of trouble if you ever put yourself in a bad situation, but whatever situation you find yourself in, it's going to be capable of dealing with. It has a little bit of everything, and everything that it has is good. Nothing is amazing, nothing is great, but everything is solid. It's got a good gun. It reloads quickly, it has good penetration, it has good accuracy. The mobility is a little bit weak on this tank. It's a little bit slow, but it can still get you around where you want to go. You're not going to be flanking anybody, but other than that, this tank's good. And then solid armor from the front especially. Really good, reliable armor that's going to bounce a lot of shots that come at you. So I always seem to do well in this tank. Not great, I'm not blowing things up here, but I usually have a good time in this tank. So on an encounter map on Heilbronn, which, man, I don't know if I've seen one of these since I've been back. I wasn't really sure where to go, especially in a tier 10 game. I decided to go down the one line. I thought, well, if I'm in the city, I have a corridor, I can use my armor and kind of hold things down, and maybe that will be useful. Otherwise, I don't really know where to go. So we're kind of sitting in, and before I could get into the town, I got into this little dip by the train, and I noticed that I had some nice shots across the way into a bunch of tanks, and I'm unspotted for most of this, so that's great. So we're putting some shots. I think, is that the French heavy, tier 10 heavy tank there? I'm not exactly sure. I know AMX and then a bunch of numbers. One of those is a new, very powerful French heavy tank, at least new to me. But there's a whole bunch of other French tanks with those designations that are hard to remember. So we took a couple of shots. I believe 2 of those shots hit. Again, we're using the replay feature, so not only did we lose banners from pre-6.0, but we also can't see the damage tally, which would be updating if this was a live recording. But we got 2 shots in, saw some return fire. I think it was blind return fire, so I backed off a little bit, and then we had a friendly here, the T110E4, that's the turreted tank destroyer at tier 10 for the Americans. He was making a push, starting to go to the town like we wanted to originally, and 3-4 shots came in and started bouncing off of him. So we back up and allow him to back up as well. We're going to get ourselves into a little bit of cover here. There seem to be a couple of tanks from the enemy team that are in good positions in the town and making their way towards us, including an IS-7 on the enemy team. And that IS-7 is going to show up a couple of times through this replay. So let's keep our eye on that tank. Okay, so I tried to get up on the ridge there and have some line into the city to that IS-7. Couldn't really get anything done. So instead, come around the other side here of the valley and see if I can get some shots into tanks from the other side of this little embankment. And yeah, it's working. That's the HMHM, I think it's 51. That tank I do know. That's the tier 8. It was a recent, I think, reward for one of the seasons. Not much armor on that tank. Big gun, big hitting gun, slow reload, but we're able to put 1 shot in and do some damage to him before he disappears off of our radar. And then we see a VK on the enemy team, and there's a Skoda. I'm not sure which tier that is that an 8 or a 9? We saw him very quickly. He's popped up on the ridge there, and we were trying to get our shot in to finish off that tank. Unfortunately, he gets down below the ridge, but our teammates finish him off. And here comes the Skoda. He backs off. We put 1 shot in. A teammate puts in a 2nd shot. I think we damaged the engine, or somebody damaged the engine. We definitely saw that. And then boom, we send our last shot in just through that little dip in the valley there to get our first kill on the Polish medium tank, I believe that Skoda is. Okay, so just in time, we take that shot, finish off the tank, and we're able to look back, and we can see now there is some pressure coming into our position. Along with the T110E4 holding down this flank, there's at least 2 mediums and the IS-7, and I think I saw a 4th tank there as well. They're all ready to push on this flank and start making some progress. So we have a couple of shots here. We take a shot. Progetto on our team takes out the enemy there, and just in time, because now I'm able to turn my attention back. We have a push here from 2. two tanks, a 120 millimeter, I think that's an American, and then a Centurion. And I put one shot, I think I hit the tracks, and then I think I hit the tracks again. Oh, that was a brutal outcome. It cost our T110E4 his tank, but we are able to finish off the Centurion and put some shots into the 120 millimeter, and it starts retreating. Now, my ammo rack gets damaged here, and I am furiously trying to repair it by tapping the button. And you can see, even with the damaged ammo rack, the reload on this tank is pretty good. Now again, I have this thing pretty well kitted out. I think I have a 10 skill or a 9 skill commander on it, right? Because I've had this tank forever. So that's helping. But even damaged, the tank does a good job. And we're able to chase down the American there and finish it off for our third kill. And then finally, I figured out the problem. So all my tanks, I have my my consumable set up the same way. X is repair kit, Y is med kit, and then B is either fire extinguisher, or if I have food or a premium consumable, it goes there. Well, in this tank, for some reason, those two are flipped. So I'm mashing the X button, but that's the med kit, and the med kit is not going to repair my damaged ammo rack. So eventually I realized what the problem is, and after this game, you can bet that I went in and reversed those so that it lines up now with all of my other tanks. But again, no harm, no foul. We still got through that. Maybe it cost us an extra shot of health there, but I think it would have been a pretty similar result either way. So, not the cleanest encounter. Again, I think I had some sloppy shots when those guys pushed. Could I have saved the E4 if I had done everything right? I really still don't think so, but maybe something to definitely work on. Those quick reaction shots and aims, definitely let them go a little bit long and to the back. So now I think I have this flank secured. We're gonna push into the town. We see the IS-7, zoom in, take a shot, and again we hit the track. And I'm trying to keep my hull down so we can only see my turret, but man, he takes a big chunk out of our health. As I said, that IS-7 was gonna pop up again. Okay, he gets back into cover, and I'm not gonna chase him around a corner and do another trade with that tank. Just doesn't seem like a smart idea. So instead, because he's kind of tucked in the buildings there, I think I have an opportunity to run down the 3 line here, get to the back of the enemy, and maybe spot their artillery. And if we can remove that from the game, that will certainly be a help. We're up a little bit, 8-5. We've got the advantage. I feel like I can take a little bit of a risk here, do a quick recon mission, and wow, we are rewarded with a spot on the M40 43, and it turns to run, but we do a nice job aiming, taking our time, a little bit of lead there, and that shot flies true, takes out the artillery in one hit. So that was well worth the investment, I believe. So with that done, now we're going to turn back and try and once again help our team with the IS-7. We have, I think that's our Progetto that we saw get a kill earlier, engaging the IS. And again, this IS-7 is really tough. He is on super low health, but he's able to take out the Progetto, 34 health. Now, what I should have done here is loaded a high explosive round, because then I will very easily be able to kill this tank. But instead, I thought, well, I'll have his rear, I'll have him, surprise from behind. And oh my God, was that a terrible encounter. I came around, I saw a little bit of the outline of his tank, I rushed the shot, put it into the corner of the building. He comes out while I'm on my reload, puts another shot into me, takes a huge chunk off my health. But thankfully, in that moment, I had the foresight to switch to the HE round. Unfortunately, the replay doesn't show it, but you can see I was at 4 rounds and I went to 3. So I switched to an HE round, which then let me splash it on his turret and take out that last 30 or so health. And that was our 5th kill. Artie was number 4. We do get the IS-7 for number 5. Now, the enemy has another IS-7 on 1 health and a Waffenträger E100. And so I'm thinking, well, the IS-7 probably can't take me out in 1 hit. But we've seen that my encounters with IS-7s have not gone very well. And of course, the Waffenträger E100 can absolutely destroy me. It will probably take 2 shots, whatever gun he's using, but those 2 shots are going to come very, very fast. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about the IS-7. It gets taken out. I keep my high explosives reloaded from the encounter before, because either the IS-7 on 1 hit or the Waffenträger E100 are ripe fodder for high explosive rounds. And yes, we get the jump on the E100. He's looking the other way. That huge turret takes our first shot. We leave him on just a couple of hit points, and yes, the second shot reloads, flies true, and secures our 6th kill for the Top Gun. And that gets us the win. Close battle at the end there, almost down to the wire, 4-1, but a nice victory, and we get ourselves an MVP performance. For our 6 kills, we get the Top Gun, 3,776 damage, 1,363 base XP. That's a really solid, nice game for the T110E5. Again, this tank, you're not going to blow anyone's socks off. You don't have a clip. You're not going to be like putting out 10,000 damage. I mean, in a perfect scenario, maybe you could, but that's not the way this tank works for me. It's solid, but consistently solid. And this is one of those games. And it just so happened that the 6 kills comes out on top with a Top Gun. That's a nice amount of damage, not a ridiculous amount of damage, but a nice amount of damage and 6 kills to get ourselves a tier 10 Top Gun. And so you can see, running without a premium account, yeah, your tier 10s are going to cost you, especially when you fire some premium rounds, as we did there. 21,346 for the loss of credits for a Top Gun performance. So yeah, that's a little bit tough, but still, we'll take it. That's what your tier 8 premiums are for, so you can make credits to make up for those tier 10 games where you want to have some fun. So a couple of nice medals here. We get the Bruiser, we get the Duelist, a second class mastery badge, which, yeah, that one's not surprising. 3.5, 4,000 damage in this tank. Sounds about right for a second class mastery badge. But the big one, the Top Gun, and a tier 10 Top Gun at that. Always nice to see. Always really great when we can secure one of those. So top of the team, 1,363 base XP, 6 kills, 3,776 damage, and a little bit of assistance there, maybe some tracking. I don't think we spotted anything, but a great all-round performance from a great all-round tank. Props to my teammates. Looks like the T49 had a really nice game, 3,000 damage. We also had an SU101, a tier 8, I guess there, putting up 2,500 damage. So good team win. We did our part. We held our flank, pushed when we needed to, flanked when we needed to. Nice little scouting mission to take out the enemy artillery. Screwed up the encounter with the IS-7, but still had the foresight to finish it off properly, and then a couple of cleanup kills at the end to get ourselves a Top Gun. So that was a blitz of a game, a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.